What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about 5 tips that you can use to maintain your level of fitness while you're injured. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because about 2 weeks ago I completed my first Spartan Trifecta weekend, which if you aren't familiar with that or you don't know what that is, go watch my previous video where I recap all of that. That weekend kicked my butt. Came back with shoulder injuries. Nothing too crazy, but they're definitely not 100% right now. And then same with my knee. My knee is a little tweaked up because I jumped off a 10-foot wall. Not the best thing to do. All in all, it was an awesome weekend, but I did get a little dinged up from it. Now, when I did that weekend, my goal was to come back and start a whole new workout program the following Tuesday. So I was basically going to take one day off, jump right back into my lifting program, be good to go. I was completely wrong. I have not worked out, like I said, in 2 weeks because of the shoulder pain that I have and the knee pain I have. So I'm not able to run, or I wasn't able to run, and I really haven't done any upper body. This morning was the first upper body workout I did, and that's why this would be a great video for me to talk about, because if you're like me, and you've been working out for a very long time. I've been working out for about 18 years now, and I've had plenty of injuries, which happens when you work out at least minimum 5 days a week for 18 years. I've had a knee surgery because I tore my ACL. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries. I've had hernia surgeries, and I've had multiple lower back injuries just because my lower back is terrible. And every time I get injured, I go in with like the average mindset, and it's like this doom loop of where I stop working out, I start eating unhealthy, and I just pick up all these bad habits because I do what the average person does and I focus on what I can't do. So I wanted to do this video and basically give you guys 5 tips of things you can do and then also work around your injuries so that you could still at least maintain a level of fitness. I don't know about obviously increase your level of fitness, but if you could at least maintain it, that's gonna help you out when you actually are able to come back. You don't have such a big gap to close like me, as someone who stopped working out, stopped eating healthy all together, and then when I was able to work out again because I fully healed, it was a lot longer process for me to get back to where I was. So let's jump into tip number 1. So tip number 1, you gotta strengthen your weaknesses. I don't care who you are, what level of fitness you are, I promise and guarantee that you have some area of fitness that is your weakness. Now, there's a lot of areas. I always talk about like pillars of fitness. There's cardio, there's lifting weights, there's stretching, there's sleeping, there's nutrition. There's multiple things you can focus on. Now, if you've been killing it at the gym, say, and your main focus is like bodybuilding, but you neglect cardiovascular stuff. Well, if you aren't able to do bodybuilding, now you might be able to strengthen one of your weaknesses of doing some cardio, or vice versa. If you only run and that's all you ever do and you never lift weights, now you can, since you aren't able to run, maybe start working on strengthening your lower body, strengthening your upper body, whatever it may be. Or if you're someone that maybe knows nothing about nutrition, now you can start working on nutrition and strengthening that weakness. Now, for someone like me, my main weakness, I pretty much do cardio, I do hypertrophy training, I do CrossFit kind of style workouts, Metcons I like to call them, and then my nutrition is pretty dialed in. But even someone like me, there's one aspect of working out that I always neglect and is my biggest weakness, and that is stretching. Stretching, mobility, foam rolling, basically recovery and rehab. This is all the boring stuff I like to refer to that I never want to do. I never want to focus on proper warm-ups. I never want to focus on proper cool downs, all of that stuff. So in this time for the past 2 weeks, that's what I've been actually focusing on. I've been trying to strengthen that area of weakness for me by now I've been incorporating an actual dynamic warm-up and then like a static stretching cool down to all my workouts. But again, I had to try it out. I had to actually start doing certain, stretches for my shoulder, certain mobilities for my shoulder, even my lower body. These are all areas that I've neglected, but I see this as a way of that I could strengthen that because I'm not able to do what I want to do. So I'll spend like 20 minutes on different just stretches because I'm actually realizing how much I need to focus on that. So Tip number one is I guarantee you have a weakness, identify that weakness, and then work on strengthening that weakness. Tip number two is do what you can do. See, the average person will focus on what they can't do instead of what they can do. If you can't do something, I promise you there is something that you can do, but the problem is like I said, the average person will only focus on what they can't do. And that's speaking from experience. When I had my knee injury, which means I had my total upper body that I could still work on, I basically stopped working out. I was like, oh, I'm not able to work out because of my knee. And then when I had my shoulder surgery, I did the same thing. I basically was like, oh, I can't do anything. That's not true. I was focusing on I can't do anything upper body. I couldn't really do curls. I couldn't do shoulders. I couldn't do chest. I couldn't do back. That's a lot of things I can't do. But there are things I could have done if I chose to focus on what I can do. I still could have done legs. And I remember people would even tell me, you can still do legs. And I'm like, no, you can't. I can't squat because I couldn't put the bar on my back. You're right. I can't squat. I could still leg press, I could still do walking lunges, I could still do calf raises, I could still do leg curls, I could still do leg extensions, I could still do I could still run, I could still bike. There was plenty of things I could do, but I had that average mindset, and I was listening to the voice of average that basically prevented me from being able to focus on what I can do. So right now, like I said, both my shoulders are tweaked and my left knee is a little tweaked. So when it comes to upper body, these are all the things I can't do. I can't do shoulders, I can't really do biceps, I can't do chest. That's great, that's only 3 things. When it comes to my my knee right now, I can't run to the extent that I want to. Can I run? There's a catch. If I run, I realized I could run for about 7 minutes and then walk for 3 minutes. Run for 7 minutes, walk for 3 minutes. So I'm able to do that. When it comes to my actual knee, I'm able to do squats, lunges. I'm still able to work out my lower body because I'm focusing on what I can do. Now on my upper body, like I said, I named off everything I can't do. I could do some back. I could even do some triceps. And there's certain areas in that kind of go back to tip number one is there's different areas I've been neglecting that I can focus on. The hardest part of that though is when you are if you're someone that works out all this time and then you're not able to work out, it's very, very hard for you to focus on what you can do because like I said, that voice of average comes in and you just get super negative and in this downward spiral. So if I could give you any advice, try to just focus on what you can do. And then again, go back to step number one of the areas where your weaknesses and focus on that. So tip number two, there's always something you can do, but you gotta be aware that that voice of average is probably gonna prevent you from seeing what you can do because you're in such a negative state of mind. But don't listen to the voice of average. Now, step number three, there is a fine line to obviously doing what you can do and listening to your body, which step number three is listen to your body. Meaning, when I went out and I was like, okay, you know what, I'm able to run. I went out and I ran, and then when I ran probably for about like 10 minutes, my knee started like tweaking me. So I had to listen to my body. You gotta check your ego at the door, and I basically dialed it back. So then I started seeing, okay, well, when does my knee start feeling a little sore? My knee started feeling sore at 10, so I was like, let me just jog for 7 minutes, and then walk for 3 minutes, jog for 7 minutes, and I did that for about 30 minutes, and I felt fine. I'm listening to my body. When I was able to do my shoulders, I went straight into like shoulders and biceps just to see what I could do. Shoulder press, I tried 1 rep, did not feel good. I racked it. I was listening to my body. I went to do a bicep curl. When I went to do a bicep curl, it still didn't feel 100%, and if it doesn't feel 100%, don't risk it. Again, like I said, check your ego at the door. So tip number three is you gotta be careful and you gotta listen to your body. You know your body and what feels right. If you're doing a squat and something feels off, stop. That's like my main piece of advice I could give you is if it doesn't feel right, chances are it's not, and it's not worth risking it. And it's not worth prolonging the injury. I've made that situation where I feel like I'm 100% and then I go like, oh, I'm good. Like I woke up one Saturday morning and I felt like my knee was fine. So I'm like, cool, I went for a 6-mile run. The next day my knee felt terrible. The following day my knee felt terrible, and I'm like, man, I should have waited a couple more days. So rule of thumb, if you feel 100% and you feel like working out and going 100%, don't wait. I would wait at least like 3 days and then slowly ease back into it and listen to your body. If you're easing back into it, you have no pain, everything's starting to feel good, just keep easing until you get to that 100%. Don't go 0 to 100. You're gonna mess it up and you're gonna prolong it. So tip number three, like I said, check your ego and listen to your body. Tip number 4 is keep your routine. This is something that I struggled with drastically all of my injuries. I am a guy that is very structured. I wake up at the same time, I go to bed at the same time, I work out at the same time, I eat my meals at the same time. If one of those things gets messed up, I have a tendency to, like I said, throw them all out the window and just go back to whatever I want to do. If I could give you another piece of advice, stick to your routine. If your routine is you work out every day after work at 5 o'clock and you go straight to the gym, keep that routine. Go straight to the gym, if you got a physical therapy exercise you got to do them at the gym, do some cardio, just keep that habit. If you instilled a good habit with a good routine, make sure you keep it. Because what will happen is if you eliminate that routine that it took you so long to develop, eating the 5 meals a day at a structured time, going to bed at the same time at a structured time, waking up at a structured time, if you develop, chances are it took you a very long time to get into that routine. The thing that sucks is it doesn't take long to break that routine, speaking from experience. So if you work out at 5 o'clock and then when you get off work now, you're like, I can't work out, I can't do cardio, I'm not even going to go to the gym, I'm just going to go home. Chances are when you go home, you're going to fill that white space with a bad habit or a bad routine. That's why they say that, I think it's white space is the devil's playground or something like that. I don't know, that might not be a quote. It should be, if it isn't. You could go home and on your way home you may be like, oh, Jack in the Box looks good, or I'm gonna just pick up something to eat. Or when I get home, you kick up your feet and then you see a bag of chips when you go through the pantry and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna get some. Well, you start developing this new routine of that when you get off work, you go home, you kick up your feet, you watch your shows, you start eating bad, and you start spiraling down. And then when you get the clear that, hey, you're able to work out, you gotta rebuild that entire routine again. And it sucks. Trust me, that was like one of my biggest things I struggled with. I wish if I could go back, and which is what I did this time, is I kept my routine. I've still been waking up at the same time. I've still been going out of my garage at the same time. Even like I said, even if I'm not able to work out, I just want to keep that routine. Even if I just go out in the garage and I'm just walking for 45 minutes or an hour and a half, depending on what my workout was supposed to be that day, I still do it. I'm still out there for an hour and a half, and then I come in and I struggle with it because I'm like, man, I should have had a really good back workout and a 30-minute run. Who cares? I'm just keeping the habit, because once I get that green light that, hey, I'm 100%, boom, I'm able to jump back into it because I already have that routine. What I don't want to do, and I've done this, is I'm just going to sleep in. I can't work out. So since I can't work out, I'm going to catch up on sleep. That is such a hard habit to break. And that's why I won't go into, oh, I'm just going to sleep in since I'm not able to work out, because then whenever I am able to work out, my whole sleep schedule is broken up. I don't have the habit, I don't have the routine. So tip number 4, you got to stick to your routine. Do whatever it is. If you work out at a certain time, stick to working out at the same time. If you eat at certain times, keep everything in place so that as soon as you are able to work out again, you can jump straight back into it. Because I promise you, if you break your routine, you're not only going to have to relearn your routine, but you're going to have to relearn all the workouts and get back. You're going to start at way lower than what you were, which that's going to be a negative loop, and you're going to be fighting so much more just to get back to where you were, as opposed to if you kept the routine in place, you don't have to fight any of that. You just got to make the progress and get your gains back in the gym, which is a lot easier. So tip number 4, keep your routine. And tip number 5, the last one. Now this may only be for someone like me because I am a foodie, but tip number 5, keep your nutrition dialed in. And you may have to make some adjustments. If you, like I said, if you were a triathlete and you've been running, biking, swimming, and working out, and then you got an injury that you're not able to do all of those, you're probably gonna have to make some adjustments to your nutrition, maybe dial back the calories and everything. But what you don't want to do, and again, this is speaking from experience, is throw your nutrition out the window. I've had a couple injuries that when I'm like injured, I'm like, I can't work out, I'm just gonna eat whatever I want. And I know how stupid that sounds. Now looking back on it, I'm like, that is the average mindset right there. Holy Jesus. So if you're able to try to perfect your nutrition, try to really dial in your nutrition, maybe learn new recipes that when you are able to work out, now you got more stuff to add into your meal plan instead of just chicken, rice, and broccoli. Like, there is so much you can do when it comes to nutrition, and then obviously that is one thing that you can control 24/7. When you're in the gym, that's only maybe an hour to 2 hours a day, but nutrition is something that, like I said, is 24/7, so you should be focusing on that regardless. But like I said, if you're not able to work out as hard as you were able to because of this injury, you might have to make some adjustments where you dial it back, maybe take out some carbs, lower the calories, whatever it is, get some more steps in. Tip number 5, just because you're not able to work out doesn't mean you should throw out your entire nutrition. Keep your nutrition on point. And this isn't really another tip, this would be more just like a bonus material, is I would use this time to learn something that you've been wanting to learn or grow in an area that you feel you can grow, not fitness related. So something I've been doing is I launched my website a couple days ago. So I'm trying to understand the ins and outs of running an online business and producing merchandise and producing workout plans and all that stuff. That's a whole nother beast I've never attempted. But I don't really have that much time to study it throughout the day. Obviously being a husband, a father, a special ed teacher, and then a content creator on the side, like everybody has their busy days. I understand that. But what I've been doing is, since I haven't been able to work out but I've been still trying to hit my step count, is when I'm walking on the treadmill, I'm either watching YouTube videos of how-tos, or I'm reading certain books, or I pull up my computer and I'm browsing online of different websites, getting some ideas. I'm always trying to learn, especially since I have the extra time since I'm not able to work out. So it kind of goes with strengthening your weaknesses, but I guarantee if you're watching this, you probably have an area of personal development or just your own personal self that you would like to improve on. That might be relationships, it may be communication, it may be another language. Use this time to take advantage of, I guess you could say, the free time and learn something new. Even if it's, like I said, if you're not able to work out for 2 hours, but you have a daily schedule where you're at the gym for 2 hours, imagine if you just went to the gym, walked on a treadmill or hopped on a bike or something, and you had your laptop, you had a book, you were listening to a podcast. Imagine what you can learn and maybe start applying to your life. Like, what happens if this injury is really a blessing in disguise, where you can actually learn something that you've been wanting to learn, you just never had the time, or you felt like you never had the time. So that is the bonus tip. What area would you like to improve on? And while you have this injury, why don't you focus on improving in that area? So not only when you come back and you're 100%, you could jump right back into working out, but now you also acquired a skill that you wouldn't have acquired if you wouldn't have been injured. Look at the silver lining in that. But that is my 5 tips on how to maintain your fitness while injured. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, but hopefully after watching this video, you'll feel a little bit energized or maybe inspired to maintain that level of fitness and not just be like the average person and throw it all out the window. But anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. Website is live, so if you guys want any merchandise like this or any training programs, make sure you go to my Instagram, click on the link. Any support is greatly appreciated. I know a lot of you guys have already bought programs, bought some merchandise, and I greatly appreciate that. You guys have been supporting me from day one, and you guys know exactly who you guys are, and I really appreciate you guys. And if you guys are new to the channel and this is your first time watching, make sure you subscribe if you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and then share this with someone if you know that they are going through an injury right now. But until next time, guys, you guys already know the motto. Stay happy, stay healthy, and above all, don't be average. I will catch you guys in the next one.